If there's one thing I absolutely hate, it's when people say that the copywriting space is oversaturated. The thing is, there are a ton of copywriters out there right now who just make every client that they outreach to ignore every outreach message sent to them. The amount of copy and paste copywriters who outreach to the same fitness coaches or make money online gurus is kind of getting out of hand. So I've found the secret to signing clients, and you do this through standing out from your competition. And if you learn how to stand out from all of those copy and paste copywriters, you'll sign clients and you'll learn that all of this isn't that hard. So using this strategy, I've gotten a better reply rate and I found clients who are actually interested in working with me. Again, you only need to be able to stand out from the rest of your competition. So let me put this into perspective that most of your comp are people who post little copywriting tips on their Insta accounts and kind of look like scammers, and they send the same copy and paste messages to hundreds of prospects a day, and of course they get no replies because they're not putting effort into any of the messages that they send to these clients. And it's not like they don't know what they're doing, they're just making it easier for you to look like a professional, competent copywriter, and it's going to make it easier for you to sign clients and stand out from the rest of your competition. And you basically need to find a strategy that makes you stand out. So I'm going to share the exact strategy that I've been using to get better results with cold outreach. And most people don't realize that cold outreach is actually a combination of volume and value. If you can send out volume outreaches, but all these outreach messages are valuable and personalized to each client that you outreach to, your chances to sign a client will grow exponentially. So first of all, you need to be sending outreaches in a little bit of volume. I'm not talking about sending hundreds of outreach messages a day because you can't get to that volume if you're trying to personalize all of your outreach messages. And if you do this, some clients will just end up ignoring your messages because that's pretty common. If it looks like you put no effort into the outreach message that you sent to that client, you'll get more responses and even start getting positive responses and start booking sales calls the more times you test your luck and send more messages that are personalized. So when I say volume, I'm talking about 5 to maybe 15 messages a day because we're trying to personalize all of these outreach messages and make them valuable to each client that we try to outreach to. And trust me, these outreach messages will add up if you keep yourself accountable to actually outreach every day. Maybe just say, I'm going to send 5 high value outreach messages every day, maybe 10. And if you do that every day and stay consistent and also stay consistent with your follow-ups to clients, your chances to sign a client will grow every day because you're putting yourself out there more times every day. And that's not a ton, but if these messages are valuable, it's already 10 times better than what most copywriters are doing with their businesses, so just keep that in mind. Now, you need to add value to these messages. Clients can see if you don't personalize a message. If they think that you didn't put time into creating an outreach message for them, they're honestly just not going to respond. They can kind of tell if you didn't put effort into that message. So putting a little bit of time into each message shows clients you genuinely care about their business and you actually really want to work with them. And if they see that you want to work with them, you'll start getting more positive responses and start booking more sales calls off of these messages in the future. But again, how do we personalize these messages? I talk about this a lot, but you'll personalize them through running free samples of copy for each client. So just go through their funnel and look. If they don't have an email list, offer to create them one and write them emails. If they don't have a landing page or have a bad sales page, write them a new one for free. If they don't have a VSL on that sales page, write them a free VSL script. Maybe they're running ads with bad scripts. Write them free ad scripts. And all these things that you write for them for free, they're going to be free samples that you send in the initial cold outreach message. Because again, this shows that you're putting effort into working with that client and that you actually really want to work with that client in the future. What needs improvement, and fix it for them for completely free. This shows your commitment and value you can provide to that client's business. And if you want to learn how to find these bottlenecks, you can check out my free roadmap in the description, by the way. And also, you can even film looms going over the bottleneck you found and why it's affecting a certain aspect in the client's business. Basically, explain logically why this problem is affecting the client's business, and then present your solution, which is the free sample that you wrote for that client, and send that free sample in the initial outreach message that you send to them. You want to show exactly how you can help the client if you work with them. Don't just talk about it. If you can logically explain why your solution works and back it up with something they can implement for free, like a free sample of copy, your outreach messages will improve. But you might think writing these free samples will add up in time. It's going to take at least an hour for each sample, right? And you're kind of right about this, but let me explain why you're wrong and why you can send more free samples than you ever thought you could with copywriting. Since if all of these free samples took at least an hour to write, you wouldn't be able to add the volume part to your outreach process. But instead, if you can leverage AI to write the free samples for you, you can knock out each outreach message in 5 to 10 minutes. So basically, you'll be able to send out high amounts of personalized outreach messages at once. And to keep this kind of short, let me go over a real example of me outreaching and finding clients to work with through writing free samples of copy using AI. Let's just say I found Eli Straw. He basically teaches athletes how to perform mentally. So let's just say I go through this funnel, I find his coaching, and I go through his sales page, and it looks really good in my opinion. But I can tell, he doesn't have a VSL. So that's a bottleneck that he could improve. And if he puts a VSL on the sales page, he could probably make more money. So I'm going to write a free sample of copy, which is a VSL for his business, and I'm going to send that in my initial outreach message. So first of all, I'm going to copy this. It's a market analysis brief. So it's basically going to analyze his sales page, analyze who he is as a client, who he's selling to, what his audience is like, and that's going to help the AI write a very personalized VSL targeted at his exact target audience that he's trying to sell to. So now I copied the brief, I'm going to copy his sales page, and I'll tell the AI. And I tell the AI, analyze this using my market analysis brief. So yeah, the AI is basically going to fill out this entire market analysis brief, and it's going to give me everything that makes up Eli Straw's target audience and who he's trying to sell to. So yeah, as you can see, the AI filled out this entire market analysis brief, and then I can copy all of it. And I'll paste it into a VSL prompt. And I'm going to fill in all these blanks. So the filled out target audience brief, I'll paste that right there. Give it a second. There we go. I don't think it needs a product name because it's just a coaching program. And the call to action is basically just get mental performance coaching for all athletes to improve your game. It's about 10 pages, but it's basically just copy and paste once you let the AI do all the work for you. And again, I'll paste it in the cloud and I'll let it do its work. So yeah, you can give this about a minute maybe, and it's going to write out a very personalized VSL that's targeted at the exact audience that your client is trying to sell to. And this is the free sample that I'm going to send to the client in my outreach message, and it's very personalized. It looks like I put a ton of effort into it, even though I'm writing the entire VSL using AI. But basically, you can see using this process, if you stay focused, you can send out a ton of high-value personalized outreach messages in like an hour if you write all the free samples using AI. And obviously, if you write free samples for each client and it looks like you put a ton of effort into writing each outreach message for a client, your chances to sign a client will go up a ton if you stay consistent with sending all of these free samples, about 5 to 10 of these high-value outreach messages where you're writing a free sample for a client every day, and you're using AI to write the free samples for you. So I'm not actually going to send this free sample to the client, but you can basically see how I wrote this entire VSL as my free sample in about 5 minutes. And again, you can do this for emails too. You just need to find the bottleneck in the client sales funnel and find your desired solution, which is going to be the free sample that you write for the client. So yeah, I hope you guys learned how you can send out high amounts of personalized messages in volume using AI. And the next thing that I've been doing, and you should too, is to outreach to clients who aren't being outreached to as much. All these big copywriting YouTubers pitch the ideas of outreaching to make money online coaches or fitness coaches, and they'll tell you that since these people make more money off their businesses, you'll make more money working with them. But the truth is, so many people outreach to these kinds of clients that they basically ignore every pitch that's sent out to them. Understand that basically anybody can sell info or coaching. It could be in basically any niche that exists. You could pick a totally random niche, like coaches teaching people how to play pickleball, or teaching others how to write better essays for their college applications to get into Ivy League colleges. So think of a more unsaturated niche, something nobody talks about, and use your brain. Brainstorm a couple niches that you think are unsaturated in these kinds of ways. Kind of weird niches that nobody would think about, but people do sell coaching or info on these kinds of niches. And these clients don't get messaged as much, so you'll have better odds to get responses if you outreach to clients in these kind of unsaturated niches. And honestly, when you use AI, you don't need to stick in one particular niche. And you don't need the knowledge to write for each niche, because AI is going to scrape the info on your niche and the niche that your client is in, and then use that info to write the copy for you. It's going to do all of the market research for you. All you need are the actual briefs. So basically, you can switch between niches. Just try to find unsaturated niches. Like when you confine yourself to only one niche, you're going to feel stuck because you're only going to have a limited number of clients that you can outreach to. You could outreach to clients in different niches in the same hour. When you're sending out high value outreaches, just find problems in their funnel, then use AI to write the desired piece of copy for their business. And repeat this process so you can send out about 5 to 15 of these free samples to clients every day. And it's going to be a lot quicker with AI. If you actually stay consistent, you'll probably sign your first client in your first week of outreaching. I'm not promising that since outreach does come down to timing somewhat, but odds are you put time into each outreach message you send and you'll get a positive response and even book a sales call pretty quickly. Outreach never gets easier. The best way to learn and improve is to step right into the process and just iterate along the way. Make changes as you learn along the way in your outreach process. So yeah, keep all of these things in mind when you start outreaching as a copywriter, and I hope you guys got a ton of value out of this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.